At church dinners, Miss Stella Stacy Stover would always rush over and pile up her nasty-looking, botched-up, half-cooked food on other people's plates. Everybody in Clayton County knew her and her crazy husband, Mr. Lester Laylaw Stover, on a first-name basis, as he tirelessly worked at the slaughterhouse all day long, cleaning up slop, and she worked at the old folks' home, cleaning up and mopping floors. As each day, they both slowly walked back home, all tired, frustrated, aggravated, and without any question as filthy-looking as they could both possibly be. Mr. Lester Laylaw Stover would always be wearing his same old filthy, mud-covered, slime-smeared, hog-pen-smelling overalls with his same old nasty blue T-shirt with dirt, mud, trash, litter, and debris all over his hands, face, clothes, heads, ears, trousers, T-shirt, feet, and everywhere else as he stood there smelling just like pig manure, while wildly bucking his huge bloodshot eyes, always as barefooted as a goose, while angrily swinging his huge empty lunch bucket and vigorously picking his huge yellow teeth. Right alongside him, only inches away, endlessly yelling, screaming, hooping and hollering louder and louder until nobody could, within a 3-block area, could even hear their ears, would be his ugly, kinky-headed, lunatic wife, Miss Stella Stacy Stover, endlessly complaining and bickering, calling him a spineless, two-bit wimp while repeatedly hauling off and loudly banging him upside his big bald head as all their 16 ugly, snagger-toothed, crazy kids followed behind like a long string of ducks, fussing and fighting among themselves while loudly chewing and smacking on whatever they could get in their small, crazy hands. Every few minutes or so, just like clockwork, their stupid lunatic mother, Miss Stella, would angrily climb up on top somebody's rooftop, wildly open her big twisted mouth and repeatedly yell out, "That blame it, y'all luck, shut up, I mean it, shut up. Shut up right this dat smacking minute. That blame y'all's luck, I mean it, shut up right this dat smacking minute. That blame y'all's luck, I mean it, shut up right this dat blame minute." As she stood there angrily ranting and raving, almost tearing up their entire roof piece by piece, still as mad as she could possibly be, while still hurling and whirling insults at her ugly, pop-eyed, stupid-looking husband, Mr. Lester, who still stood on the ground angrily poking out his big twisted lip and still looking just like a huge filthy pig, still as mad as a mule. Then after seeing that all her screaming and yelling was all to no avail, Miss Stella Stacy Stover would always jump down on the ground, grab whatever she could get her huge callous hands on, haul off and loudly knock her two oldest boys, Billy and Willie, down with it within about 35 times just before they and all their 15 crazy brothers and sisters, Millie, Mully, Mabel, Johnny, Lonnie, Connie, Riley, Kylie, Bolly, Ronnie, Johnny, Jamie, Amy, Tammy, and her ugly, kinky-headed baby girl, Mamie, took off running all over everywhere, screaming and yelling for life and death as their ugly lunatic mama, Miss Stella, chased them all from house to house, angrily swinging left and right, while her huge, filthy, ankle-long dress flew up in the wind and she tirelessly fell down head over heels down into drainage ditches, huge mud puddles, and sometimes right smack dab in the middle of a busy, bustling street. On and on she'd always go, chasing them all until they had all desperately tore off their dirty, raggedy clothes while climbing over fences, climbing up trees, crawling under houses, trying their crazy best to somehow, some way escape as she relentlessly pursued them all day and night while laughing, snickling, and giggling her small, crazy head nearly off while they all scattered out all over town, yelling, screaming, hooping and hollering while still endlessly ducking for cover. Then as all their nosy neighbors always followed behind them, all cheering her on and loudly laughing, she would always somehow hear them all back home, usually all bruised up, banged up, and without any question as naked as a jaybird, as they all desperately rushed inside their small, nasty one-room shack, ate up all their leftover scraps, and hopped into bed. Then as they all lay in bed, sleeping and loudly snoring, with all their big blabber mouths sprung wide open, while her stupid idiot husband, Mr. Lester Stover, still stood outside in there all night long, angrily poking out his big twisted lip from being called a two-bit spineless wimp all week long. Every Saturday night, Miss Stella Stacy Stover would start immediately botching up her so-called church dinner as she grabbed her one and only nasty food-stained cooking pot and poured in all her week-old leftover scraps that all her 15 ugly snagger-tooth kids didn't want, along with her crazy husband, Mr. Lester Laidlaw Stover scrap, as she mixed in several cups of chopped up onions, several pounds of chicken feet, several pounds of chopped up watermelon, several pounds of chicken gizzard, several pounds of pig feet, several pounds of leftover hamburger meat, and several pounds of tomato soup as she tirelessly mixed up and cooked and stirred it all together while all her 15 crazy kids innocently reached their short, stubby hands in and grabbed whatever they wanted and ate it up. Whatever they wanted just before she'd always slap on the lid and off to church she went with it all every Sunday morning, still loudly laughing, sniggling, and giggling, her small kinky head almost completely off, as her ugly, stupid-looking, bald-headed husband, Mr. Lester Laidlaw Stover, and all their 15 ugly, snagger-tooth kids, crazy kids, Billy, Willie, Millie, Mully, Maybe, Johnny, Lonnie, Connie, Riley, Kylie, Biley, Ronnie, Johnny, Jamie, Amy, Tammy, and her ugly, kinky-headed baby girl, Mamie, followed behind her like a long streak of ducks, all loudly screaming, yelling, and fussing and fighting among themselves almost all day long. Then, while still tightly holding on to her huge cooking pot, as mad as she could possibly be, Miss Stella Stacy Stover would angrily climb on top of somebody's rooftop, widely open her big twisted mouth, and repeatedly yell out, "That blame y'all luck, I mean shut up right this that blame minute. That blame y'all luck, I mean it, shut up right this that blame minute. That blame y'all luck, I mean it, shut up right this that blame minute. This that blame minute," as she stood there still holding her huge cooking pot, angrily ranting and raving, almost tearing off their entire roof piece by piece, still as mad as she could possibly be, while loudly hurling and whirling insults at her ugly, pop-eyed, stupid-looking husband, Mr. Lester Laidlaw Stover, who still stood on the ground angrily poking out his big twisted lips, looking just like a huge filthy pig, as mad as a mule. Then, after standing there yelling and screaming, hooping and hollering all morning long, all to no avail, Miss Stella would always angrily jump down, cooking pot and all, grab whatever she could get her huge callous hands on, haul off, and loudly knock the I don't know what out of her two oldest boys, Billy and Willie, as her other 15 crazy kids took off running, headed straight for the local church house, where they all desperately rushed in and piled up in the corner along with her ugly, bald-headed, stupid-looking, crazy husband, Mr. Lester Laidlaw Stover, as their crazy-looking, ankle-long dress-wearing lunatic mama, Miss Stella Stacy Stover, also rushed in, loudly laughing, sniggling and giggling, while still holding on to her huge cooking pot filled to the brim with all her half-cooked, botched up, mixed up church dinner, which she proudly held on just ready and waiting to dole out to all the other reluctant church members who stood there loudly laughing their heads nearly off while gazing at all her 16 filthy-looking, ugly, snagger-tooth, barefooted, crazy kids who stood there alongside her ugly, barefooted, stupid-looking, bald-headed husband, Mr. Lester Laidlaw Stover, who stood there still angrily poking out his big twisted lip after being loudly banged upside his big bald head and repeatedly called a two-bit spineless wimp all week long. Meanwhile, all during church service, their entire crazy family would still be loudly yelling, screaming, hooping, and hollering so loud and hard until nobody else, including the preacher, could even hear their ears, as their ugly, kinky-headed lunatic mama, Miss Stella Stacy Stover, consistently widely opened her big blabber mouth nearly 2 feet wide, repeatedly yelling out, "That blame y'all luck, I mean shut up right this that blame minute. That blame y'all luck, I mean shut up right this that blame minute. That blame y'all luck, I mean shut up right this that blame minute," as she savagely chased them all over the church building, loudly knocking them down one by crazy one, clean up until church was over. Then, as always, when all the church members lined up to eat in the church cafeteria along with everybody else, there she'd always stood, Miss Stella Stacy Stover, still wearing her same old filthy-looking, mud-covered, dirty, ankle-long dress that she had worn all week long, with both her big, small, beady eyes all bucked and bloodshot, her short, kinky hair scattered all over her small, knotty head, still holding her large cooking pot filled up to the brim with all her half-cooked, botched-up food, ready and waiting to always give it out to whoever wanted it on her huge, nasty-looking spoon. Then after all the church members and everybody else had neatly prepared their eating plate and were sitting there and relaxing, Miss Stella Stacy Stover would always jump up out the deep blue sky, laughingly rush over, take several huge spoonfuls of her half-cooked, boxed-up concoction and rudely dump it right smack dab on top of their other food and start loudly laughing, sniggling, and giggling her small, stupid head nearly off as all the church members, including her ugly, bald-headed, pot-bellied preacher, angrily jumped up and threw several angry fits of rage as Miss Stella Stacy Stover, her ugly, idiotic husband, Mr. Lester Laidlaw Stover, and all her 16 ugly, crazy-looking kids, Billy and Millie, Willie, Mudley, Maybe, Johnny, Lunny, Connie, Riley, Kylie, Biley, Runny, Johnny, Jamie, Amy, Tammy, and her ugly, kinky-headed baby girl, Mamie, stood there jumping up and down, loudly laughing, sniggling, and giggling, their crazy heads nearly off all day long, just before their stupid-looking lunatic mother, Miss Stella Stacy Stover, grabbed up her huge cooking pot and headed back home, only to do the exact same thing the next Sunday morning.